catch up from such a big income differential here. He is actually ahead on income despite having so many fewer harvesters because mules are pretty balanced, guys. But there's the first DT, and TaeJa not only out of position but no turrets. He's actually trying to move back home, so I don't know. His game sense is just ridiculous. Let's see how much damage he takes from this though. I really wish we had seen multiple DTs. One in each base could have been devastating right now. The only one here, he should be able to scan, pick it off. How much energy does he have? He has enough for one scan. Pulls all of his SCVs, doesn't want to start taking damage until he gets his units there. Nice little mini skin on stim on a couple of units. Oh my god, no! TaeJa! Oh, good. Mistake from the Protoss player. Oh, what a mistake to run back into that scan. That could have been huge if that scan had been wasted. Every scan is absolutely crucial right now. He's going to send in DTs one at a time. Turret is on the way, though. Can he defend? Oh, he has a turret over here. Excellent. So as soon as he saw the first DT, he prepared everywhere. No more damage should be taken from DTs. That's why you got to send in 3 at once. You got to send in 1 to each base. If you send in 1 and then 1 minute later send 1 to each base, they're going to have turrets. It's just not smart play. Oh my god, TaeJa! Get up the ramp, man! Get up the ramp! You can't be down the ramp! Dude! No! Don't engage on the center against Charged Out Archon! You got to get up a choke point! Oh no! He's kiting excellently though, and there's no Colossi in here. No sentries to drop force fields. This force from TaeJa is actually huge. He's taking a supply lead, ladies and gentlemen! What? What? Are you guys remembering what happened earlier in this game? Keep in mind, our Protoss has been so unbelievably greedy with his build that he's actually down on upgrades. He's down on upgrades with Charged Out Archon, possibly the single unit composition in the game that requires, like, that upgrades will affect the most. PvT Charged Out Archon, there is no situation in the game that you need upgrades more than when you're playing Protoss versus Terran and you're going Charged Out Archon. Like, you gotta hit that 3-3 ASAP. You need that armor for your Zealots against those Marines and Marauders. So, our Protoss player taking some pretty big risks there. +3 armor just now starting, still no +2 weapons. It's just unbelievable. 3-3 is going to be done before he has 2-2. It's unbelievable that TaeJa is able to keep that up. And EMPs going off. Excellent EMPs. There are still a lot of Archons in here. They are being target fired down pretty quickly, though. Archon's dying almost immediately, and this choke point is excellent for TaeJa. Our Protoss player has thrown away the game, calls out the GG and leaves. Oh my god, what an unbelievable turn of events. What the hell? What the hell? Let's go back and take a look. This is, yes, this is a replay that I was watching here. Let's go back and try to take a look at the moment where it seemed like he had lost the game, and let's talk about the mistakes that our Protoss player made. Protoss player tries to bust this up, does an excellent job. This just looks unwinnable for TaeJa. I mean, army supplied 26 to 40. We're about to have another warp in. There should be one in just a moment. There it is. 6 more stalkers coming in. But here's where I think he made a mistake. First off, Sentry should have had a force field on the ramp immediately, because if you go back, these units coming down, it's actually really important. Yeah, you would have used medevacs to drop them, but these reinforcements coming down are unbelievably important. Every single unit matters. So one force field on the ramp would have prevented a lot of that. And the second thing is that these shouldn't have been stalkers. They should have been zealots right now. He already has a blink stalker count. Blink stalkers are one of those things where it can seem like it's a good idea to make more blink stalkers because they reach that kind of critical mass where you can just keep blinking back the forward ones and they just never die. But it's so much better to just have some zealots to tank for you against marauders in front. Just a couple zealots. If you had 6 zealots warped in instead of 6 stalkers, not only would he have had a better engagement here, especially like blink the stalkers back, let the zealots get in front, but he would have had more gas to continue his tech. Let's talk about how all in this is from the Protoss. Still no third Nexus against a Terran who is on 3 bases. TaeJa not throwing down a lot of energy, so he's going to be able to drop a lot of mules after the engagement. He's probably just too focused, or maybe he was worried about DTs, or who knows what. I mean, after all, he did scan and see a Twilight tech earlier with no robo, so he might have been worried about DT play, was saving up scans for that. And he actually did have this one turn here. I forgot about that. That ended up dying. So, you know, with all that energy, he's going to be able to replenish his economy pretty quickly. And he's still up on SCVs, despite using SCVs to defend here. So our Protoss player wasn't keeping up probe production. You can see he's just at optimal for 2 base. And what that means, yes, it's like, okay, if he builds more probes, they're not going to help him on 2 base. But you build them in preparation for the 3rd finishing. So the fact that he's not building probes means he's never planning on taking a 3rd. He just saw the weakness in TaeJa's build and figured, all right, I could just kill him right now. Because of a lack of scouting for that 3rd base, he didn't realize TaeJa had that. He thought TaeJa was just on 2 base, and he would just kill him right away. Slight mistake in scouting from the Protoss player. That's what happens when you don't go robo and don't have an observer to find out what your opponent's going for. So no force field on the ramp, no zealots warped in, no third base, no probes made, and no continued upgrades. Those are all the mistakes. You know, it makes sense if you think you're just going to win the game not to continue upgrades, because it's like, all right, why would I spend money that's not going to finish for over 2 minutes? You know, even with Chrono, it's going to be a little bit less than 2 minutes. So why would you do that when you can just spend that money on more units to kill them with now? So that kind of makes sense in that regard, but that's why you don't play for everything for now. Don't put all your eggs in one basket and go all in like that. You want to, you know, still have your follow-up, your transition available, because a player like TaeJa is capable of some of the most ridiculous comebacks I've ever seen. So slight mistakes by this Protoss player ended up throwing away the game that should have been won, even after this point where he made those mistakes. Because when you think about it right now, he's losing sentries. These sentries have energy. They could have been forced on the ramp. Oh, right there should have been a force field to pick off all those units before they got up the ramp. Could have even sniped the medevac so we couldn't see that funky drop play page. Right now, even, he still has the sentries alive. I guess he just still doesn't. There we go. He scouted the third. That should be the moment when you see that third there. Either you just drop the force field and send your entire army to go kill the third. Don't try to go up the ramp against Terran. Never, ever, ever. No matter what. Never try to go up the ramp against... No. You don't do that. Maybe if you have 6 zealots in front, you could somehow do this and blink up and snipe down the medevac and all the marauders or something with the zealots to tank for you. But you're starting to lose stalkers when you play like this. It's just not... That's not what you want to be doing. You can see him starting to lose stalkers. Even with decent blink control, it's just not enough. They die too quickly. And then he makes the mistake of judging that he could beat that, but there are a couple marauders that end up popping out, and without blink available, he ends up losing stalkers. And stalkers, you can lose zealots to infantry, but you can't lose stalkers. They cost gas. You really need to build up that critical mass. Just like sentries, you don't want to lose that much gas investment. So he's kind of throwing away a lot. His third has been started, but he hasn't kept up probe. Look at this. He's still not making probes. Like, you need to be making probes behind it for that third. Still no upgrade continuation. His only tech continuation was the Templar Archives. Didn't even add a robo to get an observer. And it was just too big a risk to take. So while TaeJa did end up losing a lot, his economy wasn't in too much of shambles. Like, yeah, he wasn't mining with these SCVs, and yeah, this base wasn't mining, and he's only mining with a couple mineral patches as his main. But that's temporary. Once the attack finishes, he's able to drop. Let's see how many mules he drops here. Just speed up. Once he's finally able to get this. Look at that. Okay. We got full saturation at this base, or between optimal and full saturation, which is just as much as you're going to want. And 5 mules dropped. And he's still got energy to spare. So that's because this one, I guess he just didn't spend that energy. Just wanted to save it in case he needed to scan. Still worried about DT maybe. And he hasn't dropped this one yet. So that's going to have another 2, soon to be 3 mules. So just a ridiculous amount of economy. So while right now he wasn't mining because he just wasn't mining with a lot. Watch this catch up and surpass the Protoss here. Look at that. Immediately he's not just ahead. He's really far ahead in economy. And that's why... If the Protoss had dropped a third behind this attack and had optimal saturation going, he would have just been in an unlosable situation. But since he went so all in with that 2-base attack, TaeJa was able to use that to get further to catch back up, using all these mules, using this economy. He drops a couple over at the third or at the natural as well, do the attack over on his third. So he's going to lose some more mining time, etc. But it's really not that big of a deal. Units lost is actually pretty close. You can see that. You know, even though TaeJa lost his whole army before, he wasn't inefficient. He was always cost efficient, always trading evenly with the Protoss, evenly or better. And let's just accelerate through this game a little bit and just watch this unit's loss tab kind of engage here. Because what should be happening, if you're a Protoss with an econ advantage against a Terran with a low army size and a low medevac count, is that you should always be engaging in a cost-efficient manner from the Protoss perspective. Like, there's no reason when you have a better economy, you should have better upgrades, although he doesn't. You have, better tech since your opponent just has a really low medevac count. There's no reason you should be engaging in an inefficient manner, and yet TaeJa just has such unbelievable control, constantly lifting units that are getting hurt, constantly having good positioning, always engaging onto low groups of his opponent's army, that he's actually able to stay cost efficient throughout, which is just something that is mind-boggling. It's any Terran will tell you it's so difficult to trade cost efficiently with Protoss. Like, generally Terran has the econ advantage because of mules, and they're able to trade just a little bit cost inefficiently and be okay. So to trade cost efficiently is it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing, especially given all the circumstances that we had coming into this game earlier on. So now Protoss goes charge out Archon, but he didn't have good upgrades, and nor did he have good engagements with good positioning. See, TaeJa kind of baits him up this ramp and then just ends up taking out Zealots while they kite back. He's always taking out units while they fall away. Look at this efficiency getting better and better for TaeJa. You really just, this is such a hard map for us to engage on. If you try to engage up these ramps, it's just almost impossible. You really need Colossi. You can't just use Charged Archon for this. So he's going to come over here, and this is kind of the deciding battle in this game where the Protoss loses the game. If we look at our army supply, you can see he's up on army supply, so he's just got a slightly larger army. He's at 1-2 upgrades against TaeJa's 2-2, so TaeJa does have the upgrade advantage, just ever so slightly. But what really sets it off is the positioning. TaeJa has this little space, this little awkward small space between the bases that is just excellent for Terran and horrible for Protoss. The Zealots, like if you're engaging, let's say you're right here. Let's say you're right here engaging. Because I'm sure some players engage with these same armies and you're wondering like why you end up losing as the Terran or something. If you're engaging right here and the Protoss just gets like a full surround on you, it's going to be excellent. But if you're engaging in a place where the Protoss really can't get much surface area at all, you know, all these Terran units, they're ranged, so they're all attacking, and only the Zealots can get on there attacking. There's also just a slight mismicro there. It's almost impossible to microcharge Zealots. If you try to target fire or something, they're going to act all wonky. You can't kind of move them around because that'll cancel their charge. So you kind of just have to leave them on attack move. And what happened was they went over here and target fired just a couple ghosts that were by themselves. Maybe he target fired that. Maybe it was on purpose. I don't know. But that was certainly the wrong thing for them to do. Now they're all off by the side. If they had immediately gotten a nice concave surrounding these units, he might have done enough damage here. But instead, a lot of them are just kind of running around not attacking. And that causes problems. Now they've used up their charge already, so they're just kind of slowly chasing after these units. There's charge again, but it's too late. They're all gone. And of course, he has to call it GG. Even though he has a fourth, his economy is still inferior to the Terran. TaeJa's caught up on the worker count since this Protoss doesn't like to make probes that often. And, you know, if you're caught up on the worker count and you also have mules on your side, you're straight up going to be ahead. I mean, he wasn't dropping mules here at all. So his economy would have been even farther ahead if he was dropping mules during the engagement. He was just too busy microing, or maybe he was worried about DTs coming in during the engagement with a turret being sniped, something like that. So, well played by TaeJa. I got to say, what an amazing comeback. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed watching. Yet again, I am Orb. You can follow me on Twitter at ORBTL. And if you want to see the Korean Weekly, which is the tournament that TaeJa plays in almost every single week he plays in it, he loves playing in it, and he wins almost every time. He's just absolutely amazing. We got more awesome up-and-comers. If you like players like Puma, Leenock, Jokji, Squirtle, all of these players, TaeJa, I'm trying to think of who the others are. There's so many players that basically nobody knew who they were. They play in the Korean Weekly, do well, and then all of a sudden they start doing well in like Codes and in foreign tournaments. Everybody's like, whoa, where'd these guys come from? If you want to have that kind of ahead of the curve look at some of these up-and-coming Koreans, check out the Korean Weekly. It's at Korean Weekly on Twitter, and of course at twitch.tv/esvision. Oh, that's where it is broadcast. So check that out, and I'll see you guys in the next VOD. Hope you guys enjoyed. Later.